like to play chess. Nobody ever mentioned anything about a sword fight. Master Law, if you don't talk, you're gonna die.
I see. So you know how to fight. Well, today you're up against the Ting brothers.
You want to fight? Fight with me.
Hi, guys. Do you remember after the Las Vegas shooting, I had a theory about the weapons that were being used, and I did a video, a couple of them, about it.
About when he stopped firing and why. You've already indicated that he may have seen security guards while he was in.
Based on the assessment of the weapons that were there that he was using and access to, were any of these weapons jammed or inoperable, or could he...
The cameras that were there, what was coming his way?
He could have continued firing. Some of them were jammed, but he could have continued firing.
Go back with it a minute. You said some were jammed.
Yes.
How many?
I don't know the number, but some. But he had plenty of firepower available.
Do we have any idea?
Yes. Yes.
That he was using and firing had advanced optics on it, either hunting scopes or ACOGs or anything else like that. Was that
Just from my visual preview of a crime scene, I saw at least 3 scopes. Most of them didn't have scopes.
hunting style scopes or advanced collaborated on an optical gun sight?
No, from what I know of firearms, they appear to be hunting scopes, not marksmanship scopes.
Sheriff, was the security guard armed?
Did the sheriff just say he believes that they were hunting scopes? Well, that's funny because I've been looking at the pictures that seem as if they were taken from a phone or a tablet, and something just does not look right. Something looks missing. You know, the wires that are left there close to the weapons. And also, I'm not going to include a picture of the man laying in the pool of blood, but if you go and you look for yourself, you will see a white wire underneath blood on the right, underneath his and close to his head. So basically, I'm theorizing that maybe there was something like a TrackingPoint precision-guided firearm system that was being used that night. If you use this weapon for something like Las Vegas, you definitely would snatch that scope and the iPad that it comes with before leaving, which would leave an odd-looking wire hanging here and there.
By server inside the PGF that is broadcasting a signal and is allowing your Wi-Fi enabled iPad or iPhone to be able to connect to it anywhere in the world. You do not need a Wi-Fi router or any type of network that's already established. As you can see on the screen here, and we can't see anything because I'm looking at a wall 5 feet away obviously, we see a cant indicator. So if I turn the rifle right or left, you will see it register the cant. This rifle is able to shoot all the way up to past a 70-degree cant, right or left, and all the way past and including 145 degrees down or up. Everything in here is taking account. Anytime you move that gun or anytime you see the cant or the incline indicators changing, the ballistic computer is actually making that correction automatically for you. Up here you can see in the top right a wind mile/per-hour reading. That's really the only manual input that we have on the scope. You'll see that as I change the wind, it'll indicate it right or left in half-mile-per-hour increments. This allows for much easier wind estimation. Instead of holding an MOA or a mill-based type reticle, you are simply making a good wind call and putting in what direction the wind's coming from. So in this would be a 1.5 mile/hour wind coming from the left to right. Now in here you can see in the top left our yardage marker. Now if this was actually close enough for me to be able to tag something, you would see the yardage displayed up here once I hit the tag and track button that we talked about earlier. As you can see, since I'm so close, it's giving me a target not found. No TTX lock, too close essentially. They need to be at least 50 yards for this to be able to lock on. Up here in the top right, going back, you see 2 battery indicators. You have 2 separate batteries on either side of the system. They're hot swappable, which means even if I pop this guy out right now, while everything's running, all that you will see is the right battery will now be gone. That means that everything can stay up and running. If one battery goes dead in the field, you don't have to turn off your whole scope, power it down. You can still do it very quickly. As you can see, pop this back in, plug it in, and you'll see the right battery. Now, the one that's highlighted right now, when blue, is what side it's running off of. And like I said, automatically when that battery goes dead, it will swap to the other battery. Over here in the top left, you're going to see this where it says Advanced Targets. Advanced Targets is the computer-enabled PGF full smart rifle function. If I hit the mode button on top, you're going to see this is what it originally boots up in. This is a traditional reticle. At this point, the PGF is a standard rifle. If I pull the trigger, it dry fires right now, as you can see, and it goes bang. Okay. Now, when I switch modes again, and I go to advanced mode, my trigger is now completely disabled. In order to tag and track that target, I'll have to do my sequence of tagging with my red tag button, locking onto the target, holding the trigger to the rear, and then lining up my crosshair with the red dot that comes in the screen. The other item that you're going to see up here in the top left is your bullet selection. With these TrackingPoint firearms, it comes with a choice of either a match grade OTM bullet or an LRX full copper hunting bullet. And you can simply go into your settings and you can swap between the 2 bullets, and it will automatically adjust your ballistic profile for whatever caliber you're talking about. That kind of shows you a little bit about you know, what you're seeing through the scope. You're down here, you have your temperature settings, your barometric pressure, time, and date. This is really good for hunters. It allows you to essentially be looking exactly what the person looking through the scope is seeing, be able to direct them onto the right animal or the right location of what you're trying to, you know, find. When, you know, dense brush, you can say, no, I see what you're seeing, you know, move at 2 o'clock to your left. Really allows you know, a type of involvement with the shooter that's never been seen before. This also is automatically recording as soon as I hit that tag button, which means that any video is recorded up to 60 seconds after the shot is placed. So that means you can immediately, you know, be live streaming, updating, send to Facebook, pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, it's precision guided, similar to the guidance system in fighter jets. Plus, you can stream what you are viewing through your scope to all your friends. Servers? You want to talk about servers? This weapon has its own. Has Wi-Fi, the whole kit and caboodle. Which means digital evidence trails leading and connecting God knows who. It even comes with its own iPad, seen in the photo. The only thing that scope or digital guidance system does not do is calculate the wind speeds. It also comes with a game. It also comes with its own game.
My name is Elizabeth Salazar, and I'm working on Venture X, which is the game that actually goes along with the scope. The idea is that it's teaching you how to use the TrackingPoint scope, and so to find the animals, you actually like move the device around as if you were moving a sight, and then you tag them and then shoot them. Yeah! Did you see it? Immediate kill. I always feel bad when I wound them instead of kill them. Then they run away, and then it's like animal escape to go die slowly in the forest somewhere.
I am not bringing this up to insinuate that any of the law enforcement agencies, the media, or the alternate media is doing a bad job. If this is the case, then wouldn't that change the scope of the whole investigation? Let me know what y'all think about this. This has been me, The People Perspectives. Break this news.
At this point, we did, in the last briefing, I was unable to tell you what we retrieved from the house in Mesquite. We retrieved in excess, Aaron, how many firearms was it? In excess of 18 additional firearms. some explosives, and several thousand rounds of ammo, along with some electronic devices that we are evaluating at this point.
Was a question about the validity of the crime scene photos that somebody had leaked. I can confirm those are in fact photos from inside of the room. They're in fact photos of our suspect, and as the sheriff mentioned previously, we have all opened up an internal investigation to determine the source of the leaks of those photos to the public. You asked what we found in the suspect's room, and the sheriff spoke a little bit about cameras being located. To clarify, there were 2 cameras located in the hallway so that the suspect could watch as law enforcement or security approached his room. And there was another camera placed inside the hotel room door peephole so that he could see down the hallway.
Another investigative issue was cameras. Questions was presented about cameras and whether they were recording. We determined none of the cameras were recording. There was 2 cameras on the room service cart out in the hallway. There was one on the peephole of the front door, and additionally there was a baby monitor camera placed in the general family area of the hotel room. None of them were being recorded. One thing I left out was the initial approach, and they looked out in the hallway when they observed the cameras on the room service cart. It was obviously there was several rounds discharged through the door, and through the blast of the bullets through the door, you could actually see a weapon through those openings in the door, but no suspect was seen. Now, those rounds were the strafing rounds that he put through the door in order to shoot at the security guard.
In my last video, I show a picture of inside Paddock's hotel room at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, but the picture was taken from outside the window. But that actually wasn't just a picture, it's also a video. It's a still shot of a video. And it took a while, but I found the video, and I want to show you the video now, because what's interesting is many people have noticed, and I first pointed it out, that there appears to be a woman in there. And it kind of looks like she's propped up maybe on a chair or something, and like some type of device is hooked to her face, like maybe a scuba diving mask, some type of mask with a hose coming down. At least that's what I noticed. And other people have pointed out that it looks like some type of sexy woman there. Now, we know that the room service had a receipt for 2 people eating. So, possibly somebody else in the room with him? Some woman? I don't know. So, if you notice in my pinned comments, I made notice that they had that blue hose in his hotel room. So if that is some device that's hooked up to her like it could be a, you know, a scuba diving mask, then that blue hose on the floor would correlate with it and make sense. And what's interesting about that is there's one interview where Sheriff Lombardo actually says there was some type of breathing apparatus in the room, and that would correlate with a scuba diving mask. So that's quite interesting indeed. Now, one other thing I note in my pinned comments, which not everyone reads, is that some people, of course, well, we know that people have died, even some famous celebrities have died from holding their breath while trying to have sex, because it gives them some other type of exhilarating, pleasurable feeling when you hold your breath. And so is it possible that this woman that he was with was using that mask to try to have more pleasurable sensation with that mask covering her face, preventing from breathing, and she died that way? I don't know. This seems bizarre and strange, but it kind of makes sense. But the reason I want to show you this video is because you've seen the picture, and my first thought was a sexy woman inside the hotel room. You can clearly see this is from a news report on a credible news source, and it's a video. I suppose the video was captured from a helicopter outside the window, but the interesting thing is it clearly looks like a woman in there. And since so many of you have verified that and you believe the same thing, you can look at my pinned comments and my other comments on that video. So many of you believe you see the same thing I do. That's why I decided to find this video and play it and show it to you. And this is really interesting indeed. So just watch it close and see what you think. It's not the perfect picture, but it does look like a woman, head, body, leaning over with some type of apparatus on her face and a hose coming out. Really interesting indeed, but I just have to show you this video. And it took a while to find, but yeah, here it is. Leave your thoughts and comments. Continue to investigate this and expose the truth, you know, taking the world back. I'm going to play the video now. And it's interesting because this news clip plays the video twice when they're showing the woman, like as if they want you to make sure and see that part, see? Very interesting.